will be sharing with you some resources that are available to you via MBA Research. First of all, you will want to open your web browser and go to www.mbaresearch.org. Notice it is .org. It is MBA Research is a nonprofit organization. Once you enter mbaresearch.org, your screen will look similar to what you see here. Then you will notice under Quick Links, there is a link called State Connection, and you will want to click on that link. Once you click on that link, you will notice over to the left there is a place for you to, if you've already created a username and password with MBA Research, then you can use that. But if not, you will want to create an account. So if you click on the Create an Account link, it will carry you to the registration page where you will put in your information, your name, create a username, and a password. If you previously created a login and password, then you can skip this step. It normally takes 2 days for them to get back, 2 business days for them to get verify your information and for your login and password to work. Fortunately, they are quick, and so normally it doesn't take the full 2 business days, but it can just depend on when you actually request your information. Once you have your information, then over to the left, you'll be logged in, and just for you, you're going to click on your resources, and you're going to see information that is available to Georgia teachers. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the resources, and I'm going to tell you how one of these resources can benefit you as you prepare your students for an end of pathway assessment. First of all, if you look, there's a bookmarks, MBA Research bookmarks, and if you click on that link, it will carry you to a page that looks similar to what we have here. There's over 50 different websites that they have provided, and they are updating their website weekly with additional resources, web links that can help you. I've used several of these resources in my classroom before. The biggest thing that it costs you is your time in order to use these, because it does take some time going through looking at the websites, seeing which ones you may find beneficial. They have done great to provide you with a brief description of the website. Again, there's some great ones here. I have even used some of these websites for substitute assignments that I've left with students when I was out of the classroom. Another thing is, there's some of you look for case studies to use in your classroom, and you can find some great case studies to use on these websites in your classroom. The next part I want to mention to you that's available is called the Gray Zone. And so it's the second link on their Your Resources page. And if you access the Gray Zone, you will notice you will be given some ethical dilemmas for your students, and they've got to decide on what decisions would they make and what would they do in the situation. It's not just black and white in the decision they would make in these situations that they are presented. You could use these as bell ringers. You could use them as into-class activities. You could just use them as a discussion in class. You could also use these on a discussion board that you may have on a class website to share information with your students and let them incorporate writing into the activity where they are actually having to post to the discussion board. So there's a lot of different ways that you can actually incorporate the Gray Zone into your classroom. The next part I want to share with you, and this is the part that you're going to find beneficial to you if you are giving the MBA Research test as one of your end of pathway assessments. And at the end of sharing the resources that are available, I'm going to show you a chart of the pathways and the tests that are available in there. And so some of you that there may be confusion, maybe the chart will help you. But if you're given the MBA Research test, this can be helpful. You could also use this as a review tool, even if you're giving one of the other tests in your classroom. But MBA Research has put together 12 quizzes that can be used, and they're broken down by topics. Over to the right, you will see the number of questions that are on each quiz. And you can use these, and these are similar to the format of the DECA test. So it's got the questions, and it does provide an answer key that gives a brief description with each answer, so that can make it very beneficial to your students. But these can be used, you could do a pre-test, post-test as you hit on these units. You may give an overall pre-test and a post-test at the end of your class, that type of thing. But you find the best way that you can use these. Notice this goes along with their end of program exam for the 3 credit. And they have 3 different options, and we'll look at their paths in just a moment. There's like a 2 credit, 3 credit, and a 4 credit that they actually do. The next thing, their program of study resource kits. They've got 4 different programs of study. This just provides you some information that you may want to look at. If you're using their test, notice we talked about under entrepreneurship, there's 3 credit hours, or with this test it's a 3 credit hours. You can look at the courses that they would recommend in this, and then the indicators that they would have for each of those courses, and I think you may find that information useful, and so on, and compare it to our standards that we have in our classroom. Another thing that's available here on their website is course profiles. Just some possible useful information for you. We do have our courses in the standard setup, but you can actually look at the course titles that they have and the performance indicators that they would recommend. The next thing is they have some posters that are available. If you think these would be useful for maybe you to print out, hang in your classroom, they're available to you. And then the last part on their website are some performance-based rubrics, and you may find some of these rubrics beneficial to go with your projects. You may want to use some of the rubrics that they have developed and tweak them to make them work for your projects. You're not having to start from scratch. Maybe you find something that will work. And then there's also a section at the very end of creating and the use of rubrics that you would find there. So they have provided us quite a bit of information. Linda Smith has worked with them and providing funding to them for them to create the quizzes that are available to us to use as a review tool for our end of pathway assessments. Let me talk for just a moment before I end about the end of pathway assessments. I know we have 2 other pathways that are not listed here, but I think the 3 that we have the most completers: marketing and management, fashion marketing, and sports marketing. And looking at these, you will see that there's at least 3 options of test for each pathway. Fashion marketing actually has 4 options. Now, I know at one time there could have been some confusion that there was just going to go to one test that we were using, but Linda's trying real hard to keep it that where we do have some sources, some choices of the tests that are available, and that's the way it is right now, is that we do have choices of the tests that the students are actually able to take. So maybe this visual image, I'm a visual person as you can tell, can help you see in the breakdown of what's available. Also, I provided a table that shows the breakdown, just a comparison of the test. Number 1, the cost of the test and the breakdown. You don't want to choose a test just based upon cost, but one thing I did notice when I was putting together the table is that MBA Research is the cheapest, but you do have to order a minimum of 10. And then the price does go down the more that you order. So there's brackets in there, and the more you order, then it can go down. And the only thing is, if you're from a small school and you don't have at least 10 pathway completers that would be taking the MBA Research test, then that test may not work for you, or you're going to have to be paying the minimum. At my school, we have used the Oklahoma Career Tech test and been very successful with it. And we've used NOCTI, and we also have used ASK. The time limit for each one, notice 100 minutes. The NOCTI one has 199 questions. You do have a 3-hour limit. Oklahoma Career Tech, it only takes them about an hour, but it's not timed, so if they needed 2 hours, they could have it. The number of questions on each test. The NOCTI one for fashion, 198 questions. There's a lot of questions on that test. And so sometimes that can make that test a little bit more difficult, because by the end, and 199 questions, I think we're losing the students' interest sometimes. But I've had very good success with students on that test, and so you just have to make that choice. The exam cut scores, and they're all pretty close, 70 for the ASK, 90 for the Certified High Achiever. MBA Research at 60. Oklahoma Career Tech is 70. And then on the NOCTI is 58.3. And then I also have provided information on review materials that are available. With the ASK exam, they have their indicators lined with LAP modules, and with MBA Research. So if you use those LAPs, they do also have their website with LAPs, and you can actually get a sample LAPs to see what it's like. But with these LAPs, they also provide pre-test, post-test. There is an online version that you can have access to all of their LAPs. It's $800 something a year, and that is for 25 students. Maybe something you want to look at, but it's like an online thing that students can go through. There's tutorials, pre-test, post-test, and to see how they do. But the LAPs are very detailed in the online, but you can take a look at one of those, get them to set you up that you can preview one. MBA Research is what I just showed you earlier, the quizzes that are available on their website under State Connections. The Oklahoma Career Tech, Linda worked with one of our teachers in marketing to create a review, and that is located on the GMEA website, that you can look at that review. It's been very helpful to my students. Actually, it's a great final exam review for your students when you're given a final exam. But it's they have found it beneficial as a overview review for that test. And then NOCTI provides review materials themselves for the fashion marketing pathway. They have a little booklet that they'll send you that has review questions. These are the indicators that we're looking for. And then they also have an online component with that. The online component has the same questions that are actually provided to you in the booklets. Thank you for your attention, and I hope that you found the information in this presentation beneficial. Thank you.